What's happening, people? Welcome to Egal Talks Football, and it's your host, Gunnar Souls. I am deputising for Egal. He's in London. He's having a good time with his family. He's going to be there for the Crystal Palace game, so I'm deputising in today with vibes from the six. But before we get the panel on, make sure you've hit that like button. Make sure you've subscribed because we've got a good show here for you today. We've got a Liverpool fan, Man City fan, and a Chelsea fan today, and of course, myself being an Arsenal fan. We're going to digest everything that's happened this week, and we're going to look forward to what's happening on the weekend for each respective team. But now I'm going to get the panel on, and let's get into it. Hi man, how you guys doing?
Good.
Good, man.
Good.
So obviously, I'll ask you guys as the panels to introduce yourselves, plug your channels, and any socials you have, and then we'll get started. So
It's
over to you,
QN
Kasim. Who are you? Who do
Yeah,
you support?
QN TV, mate. QN TV.
And who do you support?
Chelsea, bro. Chelsea.
Chelsea. And then you've got Veta. Veta, man, how you doing? You good?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Vader Games. The channel's Vader Games TV. I'm happy to be here. Thanks for the invite. Talk some football.
And I mean, for those who can't see, clearly you're a Man City fan from, the background. If people couldn't tell,
Yes.
then obviously we've got Rams as well. From the profile pic, you can see he's a Liverpool fan. I think he's probably just sorting a few things out, but he'll be with us in a moment as well. So it's up to you guys. Where do you guys want to start? This is obviously 5 from the 6, top 6 show. Where do you guys want to begin? Do you want to begin by cooking Arsenal, or do you want to begin with one of your teams?
Why would we cook Arsenal?
Yeah, I was saying that.
Don't know. Maybe you guys want to cook us for what happened this week.
I mean, we could. Yeah. That's the most recent game that took place, so we can talk about what happened or didn't happen. I got questions, but my observations of the game that I saw was a manager that wanted a positive result, a manager that went for that win. Obviously, based off of the rotation with some of the players that didn't start that game. Great to see. I mean, you mentioned it. I'm a City fan. Great to see Jesus back healthy on that pitch, starting that game. But I think there's a couple things that Arteta obviously got wrong, and to not be able to advance, which I think was a goal of his, is a little disappointing. So, I mean, I guess the kind of criticism is, did he wait a little too late to bring on players to really turn the tide and get a result? And the players that he subbed on, were they up for it? My questions are really for you, the Arsenal fan.
Yeah, for those who don't know, obviously we got knocked out the Europa League, 3-3 on aggregate, went to penalties, and obviously we see ourselves out. But in terms of your question there, Vita, like for me, you know what? It's difficult to answer because it's easy for us to sit here and blame everyone and say, everything's gone up in air. But what I saw from the players wasn't the same level of commitment or energy that we see in the league. Like when we look at the league, they're pressing, they're working hard. It's like they've got a point to prove. Whereas with yesterday, it was kind of I think Jess, puts it perfectly on the football terrace. It was like a chore for them rather than a game they wanted to win, and that's how it felt. I don't know what it is.
Is that Is that concerning?
Difficult. Do you know what? Yes, and I don't think it's just because of the Europa League. I think for me, where the concern comes in is we're out of the FA Cup and we're out of the Carabao Cup like early on, and for me, that's where the concern comes in. If, for example, we went deep in these competitions and we got knocked out, I'll be like, cool. Maybe it's fatigue, maybe it's not a mentality thing. Maybe they've given what they can, and they've looked at it and gone, okay, I know we're in the semi-final, we'll do what we can, and it may look that way. But I can't say that when you're out of 2 cup competitions and you look like you're lethargic. I can't call it fatigue when you look at Manchester United, who barely rotate and have played, I think it's something like 9 or 10 games more than us from the break from the World Cup.
Yeah. The fatigue argument is,
I can only call it.
You can't really find any strength in that type of argument because in terms of the gap between games and like you mentioned, you've been out of those other competitions, so that fatigue argument doesn't quite land. I do wonder though, because some rivals will point out that okay, 2-3 cup runs and you're out. You now just have the league. That, and I've seen it already on the timeline. It's a gift. There's a blessing there. There's an opportunity there. But one game a week, do you think your squad was currently designed, the players that you have, you think is designed just for one game a week?
Do you know what? To a degree, yeah. I do think the depth is there. I'm not saying it from a depth perspective, because when you look at it, for example, let's say we've got a full fit squad. You've got Gabriel Jesus and Trossard, let's say. Then you've got Martinelli and ESR. But the only concern is more Saka, then it's like Reece Nelson. And then you've got kind of a Trossard can fill in, but then you've got Eddie Nketiah as your striker option. So I think there's areas where we need to improve our depth, like midfield, for example, because when Thomas Partey gets injured, Jorginho's different. He's more of a player to come in for a scenario or for a certain game or for a tactical reason, more than he comes in for Partey and it looks the same. And when you then look at Odegaard and Fabio Vieira, it's like a plan A, plan B, he's a depth option. Because Vieira, for me, isn't a controller. He's more of a Bernardo Silva light. Like, he's not quite Silva's level, but he plays like that. When you've got De Bruyne or you've got Silva as an example, they're very different players and they offer different things but can do their job. And that's what I think it is for us. I think we've got the depth to create different situations, but not depth to keep the sort of core tactics fulfilled. And that's what we need to now build on. And I do think, you know what it is? For me, the way I see it is, I don't know if they rate certain competitions or their priorities are somewhere else. And I do think, as good as it's been being first in the league, for example, it's also been a hindrance on other competitions. And why I say that is, they've got it in their heads, yeah, we can go win the Premier League. So we'll do what we can in the FA Cup. We'll do what we can in, the Carabao Cup. If we get out, we get out. And that's how it felt in the Europa League. And that's why I don't blame the depth necessarily. But I think they've prioritized this. I call it a mental priority. So they've mentally just said, you know what, we're not going to give it our all.
I can see that.
Fatigue ourselves.
I can see that for your main starters. But like you mentioned, Vieira and Jorginho, for them to be on that pitch, and not match the intensity and the desire to advance, especially being at home, playing for your crowd. That, again, I don't ingest Arsenal games like you do, but looking at them, yeah, there would be questions for me based off of the players that you put on that pitch and not getting the result, because you were definitely of equal or better strength than Sporting based off some of the players they had out.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I'm also going to get Rams involved in this as well, and then I think Hassan's coming back in a moment. But from your perspective, obviously, you've heard the talks from Arsenal fans, we're looking at a project in the same vein as Liverpool, sort of a self-sustaining model. From your perspective, how do you see it? Because I think a lot of people compare ourselves more to Liverpool, but play like Man City, if that kind of makes sense.
I think, obviously, seeing as I'm a Liverpool fan, I think the main thing for Arsenal fans is stop comparing yourselves to us. Do your own thing, have your own identity. And I don't see any similarities between us and Liverpool. I think it's just smart business and getting rid of people that are just simply not good enough, or they're not good for the squad. And I think if you look through history of great football teams, it's the same thing. Barcelona, when Pep was there, got rid of all the players that he didn't want and bought smartly. You look at Bayern Munich in 2012, 2013, not only buying what's ready for them now, but also buying for the future. So everyone's got their own little way of building their team, but it doesn't matter whether you're replicating another team. It's all got to be down to good recruitment, good ideologies, and good philosophy within the club, and good squad harmony. If you got that, then you're on course to be a good team. So I think the only thing that is really you really guys don't need to talk about is Liverpool or City. It's just this is Arsenal. This is what you guys are doing. So I think that's the most important thing.
And what about you, South Kasim? What are your thoughts? I know you've kind of mentioned something about the league versus Europe and opinions on that. But from a Chelsea fan, how do you see Arsenal? And do you think this is where the crumble starts?
I think to be fair, I think different fans too harsh to Arsenal. I'm not going to lie to you, and I hate to say I don't like Arsenal as I'm a rival. As a rival, I don't like Arsenal. But I have to be fair here, right? I think different fans, if it's Chelsea fans, Liverpool, Man United fans coming, or City fans coming, and Arsenal, I think it's too harsh because look, when you look at it, right, the expectation actually not go charge the league. The expectation from the beginning, before the league started, Arsenal to finish top 4, right? Because they were close last year. Okay, but Arsenal have a brilliant start, been consistent all the way. They've been brilliant. I'm not gonna lie. Surprised everyone, including the Arsenal fans. So the 5-point clear. And listen, I'm not gonna change my mind. I'm Mr. Consistent. I said it to Gal over and over again. I think City is gonna win the league, and it's just because City been there before, and they've done it. They've been doing it in the British football for the last 5-6 years. Them and Liverpool, and that's what Arsenal looking is experience and mentality over the years. Because we know over the years Arsenal play good football, right? You like it or not, it's just a mentality. Yeah, I think 5-point clear, European League. Yeah, you can argue, but I think I said it to everybody else. I don't think Arsenal got the depth in the squad. They had to go for one trophy, not two. And for me, the priority always the Premier League over any competition, including the Champions League. Because the Premier League, I think, is just a tough competition. You have to be consistent. 30 games a season, week in, week out. You have to do it. Champions League or the European League or FA Cup is a cup competition. You have to be good on the day. And that's why Chelsea doing very good in Champions League, but in the league, well, I mean, we won the Champions League. We ended up finishing 4th. Under Di Matteo, we won the Champions League. We were 6th in the table. So just showing you the difference between the league and the Champions League. It's just different kettle of fish. The league, you got to be tough. You got to be consistent. You have to have the right mindset, right? So yeah, I think Arsenal overachieving, but in the same time they're doing great. And I think the different fans is to be too harsh, man. But let me highlight this. The issue was Arsenal, not their position. Even if they finish 2nd, they still have a great season. The young squad, right? But the issue is, in my opinion, Arsenal fans open the mouth too much. And when they open the mouth, they invite this, obviously, the rival. I think that's my opinion. But so far, man, I think Arsenal.
I'll go one further. The last half an hour from Duad on the terrace. Honestly, bro, he had so many
howlers. What's happening, man? I missed that. What's happened there? They still opening them out, bro. I mean,
all I'm saying, three Arteta, generational Mourinho.
Oh,
wow.
That's the issue, man.
So he compared Arteta to Mourinho.
So he compared, if Arteta wins the league this season, it's comparable to what Mourinho did with Porto.
But didn't he win a Champions League with Porto?
Yeah, he won the treble.
The treble.
No, it was Inter. The treble. He won the treble. Was Inter.
Because Duad said Arteta is a generational manager. Okay, cool. What makes him a generational manager? If he wins the league, and he compared him to Jose Mourinho, the people like Tom and Flores was like, okay, in what sense is he comparable to Mourinho, and especially his first couple of seasons? And they said Mourinho won the double the pre-season before, then he won the treble, and he's like, I think Duad said something along the lines of, Arsenal winning the league is just as good an achievement as what Mourinho did with Porto. And I'm like, bro. And if he's saying doing the double with Porto is nothing special, don't forget Benfica were a big team then. They had people like Simão, Nuno Gomes. They had ballers then. I only know that because Portugal, I used to hate Portugal because they always knocked out England during that time. So they were a solid team. Benfica were a solid team as well. They were no mugs.
That's actually kind of crazy. I wouldn't go that far yet because I mean,
I 100% agree with the fact Arteta can get to that level, can be our sort of generation of this generation's Pep's, maybe Mourinho.
Because I have said it. I think the way that Arteta's sort of come out, like obviously starting with Arsenal, I mean, you've got to look at the job he had at hand. He wasn't going into a team that many, other than Mourinho, but like Pep had a good team that he walked into with, being promoted from Barca B to Barca A, or the senior squad. And he walked into a, let's be honest, like star-studded team and made his name. And that made it kind of easier for him because he had the credit in the bank to be able to make a few mistakes or go in and be ruthless as he has been. Whereas with Arteta's come to Arsenal with no credit other than just being a player for us. And obviously, I'd say about 95% of the fan base wanted him nowhere near this club and said, get Carlo Ancelotti, blah, blah, blah. So he had nothing to stand on. And for the job he's done, how ruthless he's been, with Aubameyang, even though people are now accepting the decision, at the time, it was a very 50-50 situation. So he's showing the signs of a great, great manager. And I've said it, I do think if he carries on, and let's say he has, because obviously life at that kind of age can have, health implications and stuff like that. As long as his career doesn't get cut short and he has a decent length career, I do see him being spoken about highly as amongst, some of those names. But right now, he's just showing the early signs of that, but he hasn't shown anything to make a bold statement like he will be better than them.
I think a lot of fans will agree with you, Souls. A lot of fans will agree with the fact that Arteta showed everyone that he's what he's all about. He's proved a lot of people wrong, and he has proven that he can go up to the capabilities of managing a Barcelona or Real Madrid, or even managing Spain after that. So I have no qualms with him saying that, but saying stuff like he's generational after
that's
not really doing much in the early. When you're generational as a manager, I'm expecting you to win leagues in your first season, like a Guardiola, like a Mourinho, that kind of stuff, but not or even winning a double or a treble, not to be challenging for a league or not even doing it or not even having it finished. You know what I mean? I think we have to wait and see and hold judgment on Arteta because, again, we don't know what the future brings. Yes, he could be a great manager, but now calling him generational, no way, man. No way.
No, it's too early. That's why I was highlighting before, obviously, Ram spoke. I have no issue. The issue is just the fans is speaking too early, man, too soon.
And it's also when people haven't targeted Arteta yet or this Arsenal team, you haven't got that target on your back. The true crux of being a great manager is once you have that target on your back and everyone knows what you're all about. That's
so do you
when
mean like
we
a
have
Pep where he has to win, basically, that kind of thing, or do you mean it in a?
No,
What do you mean by target on your back?
Like everyone, so Liverpool had Jurgen Klopp had the first target on his back after we won the Champions League. That's when we won the Premier League, and that's when we went on that stupid run. That's what I mean by having when people start to realize, oh crap, you're a big dog. You're in the big dog leagues. Your people actually are very much fearful of you. I think Arsenal having the early stages of it, but not fully yet. I don't think a lot of teams really respect Arsenal yet.
United.
Did I make it for the end of the Arsenal cooking? Because I
No, we're still on. If you want
to, excellent. Hand up. Who go next?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Okay, so how are we doing?
Oh yeah, introduce yourself first, so that the panel and everyone knows.
Yeah, for people who don't know me, it's Jay. As you know, I took a week off after Tottenham's humiliation. I just needed to rest. My mental health is more important.
That was the reason.
No, it's not. I was ill last week, but so Arsenal, yeah, and I love this not just because I'm a Spurs fan. I love this because there's a lot of rhetorics that Arsenal fans have said this season that have been disproved by them going out of the Europa League in this round. When I said, Spurs, I misjudged how much of an impact it would be having the Champions League because you can't rotate your first team. You need your first team to be able to beat this quality of side. Arsenal have had a Europa League. Yeah, they've been able to rotate 4 or 5 players. They've chosen not to at times, but that also times that the fans have been like, why are you not resting Saka? Why are you not resting Odegaard? Has been illustrated with the fact of potentially this team is not good enough to beat these UEFA teams without these important players in there. So we have this sporting game now, and let's be honest, yeah. if you look at what Arsenal have done in the UEFA Cup, Europa League over the last few years, if you change Arsenal for Tottenham, the cooking they would receive would be way more disproportionate. The teams that Arsenal are losing to, you do not expect Arsenal to lose to. They should not be losing to the teams they're losing to. Yeah. So they're losing to Villarreal. Arsenal should have beaten Villarreal. They're losing to Sporting. There's no way that Arsenal should have lost this tie. Really. Like, let's look at it. Sporting needed a wonder goal. Yeah. Sporting needed a wonder goal to score. Their keeper had a great game. You know, Arsenal looked good, but this is where you see not the limitation, but it's almost like as this evolves for Arsenal now, they need to.
Man, wait. Is Tottenham lost to Milan?
We lost to AC Milan, yeah.
Okay. Listen, football doesn't work like that, bro. I said you should. It doesn't work like
what do you
that.
mean? Hold on. We're not top of the league. We're not trying to say that we're an amazing side.
It doesn't really matter, bro. No.
Of course it matters. The context of what you say matters when you lose. You cannot only talk when you're winning.
Can you let me comment? Just let me comment, bro. Relax. Listen, bro. Yeah. Just relax. I mean, I'm about to tell you, and obviously, first of all, Arsenal is a young squad, right?
Okay.
A young squad, right? It's European football is no experience there.
You know, I'm a Spurs fan, by the way.
Bro, I know, I understand, bro.
So you know anything that you're about to say about having a young team, about next year,
no. I am addressing.
Jay, let him go. Let him go, and then you'll have the points. Let him go.
I'm addressing the point is they should and they shouldn't. Football doesn't work like that, okay? Big team lose. I mean, Bayern Munich last year in semi-final Champions League, they lost to Villarreal. Am I right?
Yeah.
Emery. So and Bayern Munich is a big club. You expect him to go to win the competition. So football doesn't work like that. When you come, especially in European nights, it doesn't work like that. The league. Listen, I'm not a big Arsenal fan. I don't like Arsenal. I'm a Chelsea fan. But I have to say the truth. I'm a football fan, and I have to say the truth, right? The league is completely different competition from the Champions League. It's just completely different. I think Arsenal overachieving. I don't think they're going to win the league. I think City. I'm still believing City going to go get eliminated. But can be good. Can they be good in future? Arsenal? Yes, they can. If they add, just let me finish, bro. Can they be good in future? Yes, they can. If they add quality players, if the board obviously back the manager, yeah, they can be good.
Okay.
But yeah, in football, bro, you can't say they should and they shouldn't.
Okay. So
football
so let me just rebuttal this. Listen, I'm a logical person. I'm a data-driven person.
Okay.
I'm an eye test person. So first and foremost, nothing you're saying I didn't say. I'm not disagreeing with what you just said. Like, as in, Arsenal have had a very good season. But Arsenal
you said they should.
Arsenal should not be. But what I'm saying is, Arsenal should not be losing this game, right? So when you lose these kind of games repeatedly over a number of years, like Olympiacos, it's a trend. It's no longer something that I will overlook. I will say you've lost repeatedly to these kind of sides. So you can say the squad's not strong enough, and I respect that viewpoint. But I will also say that Arsenal would not be in this position had they been playing Champions League this season, because they would have stretched their first team further and they wouldn't have been able to rotate. And one or the other would have gone. So they would have done better if they'd thrown Champions League, sure. They'd have gone out in the group stages, and their Premier League tally could have been arguably the same. But in my opinion, had they actually taken the Champions League seriously and played with the squad they've got.
You mean European League? Sorry.
I'm just saying personally, Arsenal fans have talked well about the squad. They've talked well about the signings.
Yeah, that's my issue. I agree with you there.
Arsenal have no excuses here, Kwasim, because they have to win the league now. Because the position that Arsenal are in now, no, they do. They have to.
Yeah,
because,
I agree, of course.
It's the fans, isn't it? Do you agree? Sorry, what's your name, my guy? What's your name?
I'm Jay.
Jay, yeah. Before you just comment, Jay, I was telling my Arsenal guy here. I was telling him literally. Sorry, what's your name, the Arsenal guy? I forgot his name.
It's Souls.
Souls, yeah. I was telling him the issue is the Arsenal fans, they spoke too early, too soon, and and the expectation was high, and that's why everyone coming for them. Yeah, I know.
And Arsenal, like for me, I want to say they can't have not taken the expectation on. There was no way for them not to. Like where they were in the league, how they've been performing. I think they've only lost three games in 27. Amazing form. But the problem is now is that every season exists in a vacuum. It exists in a bubble. So what Arsenal are doing now this season, like next season, like I say, Champions League, yeah, stretch the squad, right? Chelsea will be better. Spurs will be better. United will be better. So this vacuum, Liverpool will be better. The other teams will look. So all of this situation Arsenal have now is unique. That's why they went out and bought Trossard. That's why they went out and bought Jorginho, because they knew they had to bring people in to maximize the opportunity. So now they have no excuses, and I think they'll choke. Like, because last season when Arsenal tightened up in the top 4 race, they tightened up. When it was in their hands, they tightened up. Yeah. The thing that this does as well.
But Jay, though, on that though, like I know people hate the sort of injury excuse though, but I'm kind of going to bring it in. I know you can rebuttal it if you want to, but my point is going to be this: Thomas Partey, Ben White. You know, we had even our keeper got injured for a moment in them final moments as well. We did have a bit of our spine out. This season, I do agree because we went and got Jorginho, which is what the managers wanted when we scouted Thomas Partey. We did go get Trossard, another guy. Yes, okay, we pivoted from getting our plan A to Mudryk to getting Trossard, but again, another player the manager wanted. Then obviously we've got Kiwior, who is more of a future signing, but they're the 2 players the manager was investing in. So this season, I agree. Like if we again, it does matter how badly we crumble, because if we, let's say, finish level on points, but it was goal difference that beat us, I wouldn't say that's a crumble. That's just more
of course.
I think
if we then crumble and we lose it by 5 points, I'd be like, shit, how did we lose 10 points?
Well, Souls, I want it to be very clear. Arsenal have had a very good season, an exceptional season. There's no getting around that. The problem is that when you say that you have the best youngsters in the league, you have the best right winger in the league, Martinelli's the most promising player in the league, Odegaard's the best playmaker, you've fallen into the Liverpool trap. That's what Liverpool do. They have the best players in every position, but they don't win the league. Do you see what I mean? And Arsenal fans, it's not, I get it. As a Spurs fan, when we did it, when we were on our run, the sun couldn't shine brightly enough out of Eriksen's ass. I thought Dele Alli was the best under 21 in the world. Like, I was loving life.
Can you say a good season with 11 games left?
It's a great season for them. But if my theory is, this is the theory in my head, and I've been thinking it for a while. I think Spurs make top 4. I think City win the league. I think United pick up the Europa League again. And I think Arsenal and Spurs end up receiving the same prize at the end of the season, despite Spurs having a terrible season and Arsenal having a good season. And I think that will kill the fan base, because I don't know how you then come back next season and say we're going to win the league with these same players.
The thing is, I can't agree with the fact that it's going to go down. There's always a chance wherever, if they lose the title this season, maybe they come back next season, galvanize, and win the league next season.
Similar to what Liverpool did. Like Liverpool lost it, and they went neck to neck, 90-odd points or something, and then the following season went and won it. Now, look, I don't want to compare our situation to Liverpool, and I will talk about Liverpool, for Arsenal a bit more, because we do have other teams to talk about. But I'm not trying to take away from the cooking, by the way. You guys can continue if you want. But obviously,
nobody cooked you, man. Nobody cooked you at all. I think.
No. I'm just saying, if you guys want to continue, we can. But obviously, want to try and get through all the teams as well. But I kind of want to talk about that. But I do think, as much as people are going to improve, we've shown we can do it as well. We can match the ambition of other teams in our own way. Like, obviously, bringing Trossard and Jorginho is different ambition to we've ever shown in the time that the Crunk is, and especially since Arteta's been here, we've not really utilized the January window as well as we have. And I do think that's kind of the key moment when Arteta said we need to maximize every window. And we start to see that it's like, okay, the owners are on the same page as the manager, who's on the same page as the directors of football and all of these sort of people. So I think as long as the ambition's there from the owners to want to win something, I'm not worried. But I am going to put it onto a question that came in. Are you confident about Crystal Palace? And obviously we'll have our quick predictions and our thoughts on this game. Now, obviously, the news came out. Patrick Vieira has been sacked, and the care manager for the under-21s, I've forgotten his name, he's now going to be basically looking after until they've assigned a proper manager in. For me, there's no excuses. You know, you have to bounce back. You're at home. You've just been knocked out of the Europa League. There's got to be an extra spring to your step. There's a 2-week international break until we play our next game. Give it like it's your final game. Give it everything you've got. Put a statement performance out there and do what you did when the season started, where you beat them 3-0 in their ground. Come to Emirates and beat them kind of like a 3-0 comfortable, you know, this is a statement hit. This is the Arsenal. And that's what I want to see. After getting knocked out of a competition, that's the best way to respond. Now, of course, it's disappointing. I'm not saying we just forgive what they've done in the cup competition, but that's the best way to kind of get the fan bases back, get the morale up, and also it's a confident booster for the players. So for me, I'm not going to give a prediction, but more of what I want is a 3-0 minimum, and that's
the last thing.
What I'm going to go.
The last thing you want is to have a defeat in going into the international break,
or even a
because
draw.
then you're gonna have to wait.
Even if
Sorry?
a draw.
Even a draw, yeah, you're dropping 2 points. Like you're gonna be living with that for 2 weeks, and then you have to come back in, and the pressure's almost on you because Man City play us first. We're the first game of that weekend, and if they beat us, which is probably most likely because we haven't beaten them at the Etihad since 2016 or 2015, then it's going to be massive pressure on the next game, and we don't know which Arsenal's going to come back because again, players have to go back to training and gel with each other again. It's just all that sort of situation. It's like you need to get a result and a good result, and I think you will. Like Palace aren't a good team, man. They aren't a good team. We made them look good, and they weren't even that good. So
they don't have a manager anymore, so they're
and that as well.
Quick predictions, and then you pivoted perfectly, Rams, onto Man City. Obviously, that's going to be our next talking point. But I'll get your quick predictions on what you think the scoreline will be or what you think will happen against Crystal Palace. Cassim, with you first.
No, I'm going to go last, man. I'm going to go last.
All right, go on then. Rams, you go first.
I think it's going to be a 2-0 routine Arsenal win, man.
And what about yourself, Jay?
See, now the game's interesting because Vieira's been sacked. Like, I thought had Vieira been in charge, 2-3-0. For me, this is a must-win game for Arsenal anyway, but it's must-win in the way that the hard games are coming. Like, I've seen Arsenal over the last few weeks, yeah, they're making everything. People say City are making things look hard. Arsenal are making everything look hard at the moment. They think they're not. The last-minute winners are masking the fact they're making all of... Bournemouth at home, you shouldn't need a 97th minute winner to win that game. The euphoria after you score that goal will overcome the fact that why were you even in that position anyway? You know, I'm hearing Arsenal talk a lot more about refs than they used to talk about refs. Now it's every week, oh, we should have got this penalty. We should have got 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Yeah, you put those games to bed, these decisions are irrelevant. The games are coming. Newcastle away, you know, Liverpool away, Man City away, West Ham away, Brighton at home. You know, Arsenal have disgusting games coming. This game, Chelsea at home as well. So that's 6 games of Arsenal's last 11 that I'm like, woo! And I haven't even looked at the other 5. This game is a must-win. Arsenal have to win this. I don't see them, like, I see them faltering, but definitely not in this game. They should, you know, they should win this game comfortably. And if they don't, that's when Arsenal fans should be very worried. But 2-0 Arsenal.
And then obviously to our, you know, title rivals, Veta, what are your thoughts and prediction?
My thoughts on this game, when I heard about the news, I was trying to make sense of it, right? I was trying to make sense. You're getting rid of the manager before playing Arsenal, and you have an international break. Why not do it after? But I guess there was absolutely no faith in Vieira getting a positive result. Obviously, I remember seeing they haven't had a shot on target in the last 3 games, and obviously they haven't won a game. So I get all that. Now, no manager against the best team in the league so far. I only see Arsenal getting 3 points here. I'm not even going to take time and predict the score because I don't even think it matters. You guys are going to get the result. And for me, the way I look at the fixture list moving forward, I kind of go, yeah, that's 3 points, Arsenal. I'm not even going to waste my time. So this is one of those games. And we'll see what happens when we come out of the international break. We'll see how you guys respond. But I do expect Arteta to fire these players up after being out of this Europa and getting a result against Crystal Palace, who have been looking so bad.
And then finally, Cassim, what are your quick predictions on this game?
Listen, bro, I'm gonna just say I'm going for a draw, man. I think, yeah.
Is that your heart? Is that your heart saying draw?
I've got a feeling they're gonna draw 2-2, bro. 2-2 draw. I think that Thursday, Sunday is gonna kill Arsenal. That's why I said to Igal a while ago, you got to prioritize. You want a European League or do you want the league? Thursday, Sunday, played extra time in the European League. Iron League there, man. I'm going with 2-2 draw, man, I think. Palace is still tough team defensively, you know. Zaha, counter-attack. He always got a good record against Arsenal as well. Zaha, he loves it against Arsenal. Yeah, man, I'm going to go with 2-2 draw, man.
Awesome. Yeah, guys, we're going to move on to the Manchester City section. But before that, make sure you've liked the video and subscribed. And obviously, follow the beautiful panel here as well. You know, good people, good knowledge, and all their sort of handles and stuff are in their little name things once the comments are gone. And any questions on the sections that we're talking about, get them in. They will be starred, and obviously I'll ask the panel what they think. Now, Manchester City, the title rivals at the moment, you know, coming into... There's a few talking points I've got. You know, Julian Alvarez signing a new contract extension. I believe it's till 2028, if I'm not mistaken. What does that mean for Haaland? And now a lot of people are speculating, you know, is Haaland out the door in 2 years' time? You know, what? Because Julian Alvarez is not going to want to sit on the bench for his entirety of his career. But moving to that as well, you know, you've got a potential record-breaking Pep subbed off Haaland after scoring 5 goals against RB Leipzig, coming from a 1-0 penalty against Crystal Palace to absolutely destroying RB Leipzig. I think it was 7-0 on, and it was 7-0 aggregate and 6-0 for the scoreline. But yeah, man, let's open panel discussion.
It's 8-1 in aggregate, isn't it? 8-1.
Was it 8-1? Sorry, my bad. On aggregate, 7-0 on the night. Later, man, I've got to come to you. Firstly, I want to hear, obviously, your overall thoughts on City this week, but your thoughts on Haaland being subbed and not being allowed to break and not breaking the record.
So if there's the only person that can stop Haaland is Pep. I'm gonna say this first and foremost. The only defender out there in the world that can stop Haaland is Pep. Now, and I don't condone this, but if any of you guys have witnessed dog fighting or you've witnessed training fighters, you need to keep them hungry. You need to keep them salivating and wanting wins, wanting to just crush. And I think that's what Pep was doing. He's like, this is a young 22-year-old striker who's killing it. I can't have him consume everything at once. First year with City, he'll be here again. He'll get an opportunity again to break this record based off of what just happened against RB Leipzig. I think Pep often, he sees the future. He sees the mental management that needs to happen with these players. And he kind of joked about it in the press conference, like, a young player like this, I don't want him satisfied, right? I think a large part was to keep that mentality hungry so he can go out and still want more goals. But 2, it's also knowing that it's not just about this game. It's about the FA Cup that we have this weekend, playing against Burnley. It's about the remainder of this league, and it's also the remainder of the Champions League. He's got to manage it. Any other manager would have been like, young boy, go out there and do your thing. But then we can also maybe scratch our heads and he gets a little niggle, he gets a little bruise, or someone goes in for a tackle, not having him perform that way, not taking any risk. And I'm all for it because there's a bigger goal here. So it was absolutely amazing. I want to dismiss some of the rivals, some of the banter that I hear from others with regards to Haaland. Because I've seen this, and we've all seen this. When you work hard, when you train, when you practice, when you study, others around you be like, oh, it happened so easy for them. Oh, they're so lucky. oh, what an opportunity. Nah, they don't see what you're doing in the gym. They don't see the work that you're putting in the weight room. They don't see the work that you're putting in. He's gotten those goals, those tap-ins, those easy 5 goals that he got. Because the man studies, because the team's been studying, because the team knows where we want you to be on the pitch when we take shots or when we pass. It's instinctful, yes, but you get those instincts based off of study, based off of repetition. It was absolutely fantastic to see. I'm not going to say he's going to be scoring 5 goals all the time. The same way I didn't say he was going to be getting 3 hat tricks at home every time he played at home. But he has that ability to be in the right place at the right time, sniffing goals and being quick to react. So
his movements,
it's absolutely amazing. And he's a young 22-year-old. The Thierry Henry criticism that we heard Champions League a couple games back, I think on the first leg, all fair. He's not complete.
Remind us what it was, just so.
Thierry Henry made the point of saying, you know what, I need to see more from Haaland in terms of picking his runs and some of the movement that he has when he doesn't have the ball. He also made it a point to say the teammates, our teammates, City's teammates, need to also know when to maybe look for him versus what they're accustomed to. So it's all about learning each other. But Thierry Henry was absolutely bang on correct. And you also know that there was no animosity with Haaland. After the game, when they shook hands and they talked about the game, Haaland stood tall and appreciated what Henry had to tell him. So he's not bothered by the criticism, and many City fans do get bothered when we hear that, oh, we're not a good team with them, we're predictable, we don't know how to use them. Some City fans, listen, calm down. You're going to get those from rivals, but understand this is year 1 with City. There's always a learning curve, and he's doing this year 1, potentially breaking. He's already broken records at City, but he has a chance of breaking records within the league. Year 1, scary time. Year 2, Mike Myers, Jason hours. And it's going to be amazing to see next year.
I mean, amazing is relative. You know, like it's amazing for you to see. Like, as in, like you.
No. It's amazing for all. It's amazing for all. When you actually step back, I know you're a rival. You don't want to see him in that jersey doing it. But the same way I can look at some of the things I've seen Kane do and be like, yo, that's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, come on, man. I mean, come on, bro. No, I'm talking about you, bro. I mean, we watch Haaland like that, man. He's fantastic. I mean, Kane, when he play and he score goals like that, he's fantastic, bro. So you have.
But the thing is like obviously,
as a football fan, you have to. I watch Mo Salah. I'm a Chelsea fan, and I love Mo Salah. I think he's one of the best in the world, and he does it year in, year out. So you have to admire that. You know, this talent.
Of course, there's an aesthetic like. Everybody has an aesthetical purity to football. There's a line. Some people used to hate watching Barcelona play. Everybody has their perception of what good football is. So to me, I like watching Haaland. I used to be champion Ruud van Nistelrooy when everyone used to call him a goal hanger. Haaland is just Van Nistelrooy with pace. Do you know what I mean? As in, like that's the way I see him. Like as in, he's a very, very good striker, and Ruud never had that blistering pace that Haaland's got. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't have the strides. He didn't have the height. So he has a lot. He's like a souped up version of him. You know, he's got more, just like Mbappe is like a newer version of Henry. Like sometimes you take away some of the skills and you add a little bit of the directness and stuff like that. It's like they're playing from, it's like, imagine if you're playing a video game and you have X amount of attributes to share across a player. And it's like, they've got the same level of attributes, but they're adjusted on different bits. As to the levels. City look good. On the one hand, I really want City to win the league because of Arsenal. On the other hand, I actually there's a part of me. It's not a big part. It's a really small part, like an ant's toenail level. Yeah, that thinks maybe if Arsenal win the league, it's important that even City, when they've had a bad season, can still come back and win the league regardless. That's a bit scary hours for the league. I don't actually want it to happen, but you know what I mean? The perception of, wow, City can fuck about, not look amazing, grind it out, and still win the league.
Jay, no.
Yeah.
Here's where I got to push back.
I have got something to say here. Like, do you think, or I get what you mean by like, okay, they don't look good, but do you think it's a matter of they look different? Not that they don't look good.
No, it's like there's games where it's like they're winning 1-0 through a penalty, or there's like, as in like the penetration. No. Listen, Veta. Listen. I judge City on a great because the thing about City is there's so many versions of the City team that they've been under Pep.
Yeah.
So this is a evolving version. I'm not judging it on the final thing. City are doing what they need to do in order to get to where they need to get to. It's not a final version. I'm seeing them playing 3-4 centre backs and this formation and that. They're trying stuff out. They're evolving. They're trying to. So I'm not going to say this is the final version of what City are doing when they've not finished. They've not finished what they're doing. So I can also critically assess that by saying the ball it's not complete. There's aspects of it that's good, but in terms of the overall effect, they struggle to play coherently through this new style that Pep wants when they're faced with very good teams or teams that have set up a good plan. So that's where I come from. That I won't critique City because I think when you look at Liverpool and you look at what they do on an off season, and you look at Chelsea and what they do on an off season, and what United do on an off, City don't have no days off. So this is an off season for City, and they're still performing. So on a very high level.
No, I hear that.
But the structure's already been put in place for City.
Yeah.
Like the structure's already been put. Compare it to Liverpool and Chelsea. Well, especially we'll get on to Liverpool in a second. City structure's already put in place. Like this is there. This is.
Can I just? Ram is absolutely spot on there because listen, my son played football. He plays for academy for Hull City. I know he played City. I think 2 weeks ago he played Manchester City under 13, and the way they play it. The structure and the philosophy has just been, that's it. It's there from young age. It's just to win knock it all about all day long, right? They will know goals. They start from the back, from the goalkeeper to the centre back. And that's what exactly City doing, in British team. That's what the academy young age, under 11, under 12, under 13 doing right now. So the philosophy is there, structure there, and that's why Manchester City dominating because they're very consistent. The manager can go tomorrow, but guess what? The philosophy.
The only thing I wanted to say, just to push back on that, is that I used to think that, but then I really thought about the teams that City have. Like if you look at the team they had in 18-19 and look at the team they have today, look at the team they had in 2020. It's different players. It's literally different.
Well, that transition was smooth with City. Exactly. That transition was smoother compared to Liverpool.
That's why
they're making something that's difficult look easy, and we're downplaying it. That's what I'm trying to say. As in, this is their transition year. They're transitioning right now in front of us, but they're still performing it. So normally, you drop to 6th, you drop to 7th, you struggle to make top 4. That's what all the other top 6 teams do.
That's what. No disrespect, but that's what Liverpool are going through. They're going through a bit of a transition because they got obviously rid of Sadio Mane. They're playing without Roberto Firmino, and now you're seeing that whole system's collapsed a bit. And I know there's injuries involved in that as well without their main midfielder.
He's a midfielder though. What's killing Liverpool?
Even then,
he's a midfielder.
So I do get your point. Like when you're in a transition, you do. But
I get it's a transition, but you signed one of the greatest young strikers in the history of the game. Like the guy was breaking records for Borussia Dortmund and breaking records even when he's at Salzburg. He was the youngest ever goal scorer to score a hat-trick in the Champions League. Like everyone touted him to be what he is. So even if it is a transition, I still expected City to be there or thereabouts because you signed a goal scorer that guarantees 20 goals a season.
The thing is,
I had the Chelsea YouTuber said he's not going to score 15 goals, and I was laughing, bro. I mean, that was terrible. I mean, Haaland not scoring 15.
No, that guy's a clown.
That was a joke. But yeah, I agree with Ram there. I think. But listen, City's not been great this year, right? And that's a scary thing. The City not great this year. I mean, I know they will always.
But again, if we're talking about even if we want to categorize it as great, would you say that we were great last year?
No.
Rams, were you and I great last season?
Yeah.
No. Just let me clear my point, right? Why I say by great is, listen, last few years, Pep Guardiola play was false 9. He doesn't have our number 9, right? He didn't even rate Aguero. I don't know what's happened there. If you know what I mean, yeah. He likes false nine. I think, and another thing as well, City always start the league slow. They always start slow and come strong. Okay. When I say great, I think performance, some performance was not great, and the results. Okay, and that's what I mean by that word. But when I know,
okay.
I think I say it in every. I think City is the best team in the world. In world football, I think City. And I'm gonna say something to you guys. I heard YouTuber today saying, I heard some YouTuber saying Bayern Munich will beat City. I disagree with that. I think City will beat Bayern Munich. I'm thinking City gonna beat Bayern Munich, but I'm gonna leave that. I definitely believe City will be Bayern Munich. If it's not City, gonna go on the Champions League.
Yeah, I'm not talking Champions League yet. I'm still in FA Cup mode.
I'm just going to get some of the chats involved just quickly, just because obviously mentioning the Champions League, obviously the draw happened today.
Yeah, Chelsea draw Real Madrid. Yeah,
João Cancelo has a vendetta. I am telling you now, this man is going to double foot Pep. I'm telling you now. Get your bets.
I'm looking forward to that game.
Let me quickly get the chats in. So Vater shaking his head. If City want to be a big club, beat Real Madrid and Bayern and get yourself a UCL for it. Prem is not bigger than the UCL. We will get into it, but I'm just going to few more on City. Man City en route to a treble, but the media haven't picked it up. Very true.
They don't need to. They don't need to. Don't need to talk about it.
This is the one I don't understand. I don't really know what he means by this, but Haaland is en route to being the greatest striker, but will probably be a journeyman, whatever that means. But he can clarify later.
When I think of
the main ones are the treble and this.
On the journeyman thing, when I think of journeyman, I think of Anelka all the time.
No, you think of
you
Ronaldo.
You really think that? Do you think Haaland's going to be like that?
No, as in journeyman, as in he goes to club to club.
Oh, yeah, like the next
Anelka did.
Yeah, Anelka was a journeyman, but I don't think that's what Haaland's going to do. I think Haaland probably, and his dad probably envisions him doing something similar to Cristiano Ronaldo. That type of movement.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
But let me go back to this whole real quick, because I get it. This transition has been kind of smooth, and but it's also because of the organization, the board, and the manager. We've made it a point of doing room remodels instead of some of what are the other clubs doing in terms of full teardowns and rebuilds. So it does look smooth, but at the same time, we do get that criticism. At that time when we didn't have Aguero, we were going through the false nine. We had many rivals, as well as some of our fan base, saying this false nine system's not working. They're not getting the goals that they need. They're not going to get that success. Pep fine-tunes it, finds a way to make it work. Same thing now. We've been accustomed to the false nine. Haaland comes in. Early doors, we were doing our thing. Haaland was scoring, like I mentioned, 3 hat tricks at home. But then you get teams that kind of figure out how we're trying to do it. And then rocky times. Can we do it now with the striker? We're predictable. It's not as smooth. We're not holding possession. We're not controlling the midfield. All those things kind of get said, but it's living through a remodel versus a rebuild. And again, late in the season, we got 11 games to go. We still have 2 cups that we're playing in. It's finding our way. And again, everything looks nice. Those 7 goals we put up against RB Leipzig, everything looks nice now. But it has been a transition. To Jay's point, it hasn't been smooth, but I think we're on the right track to really do what we want in terms of those end of season goals that we want.
Quick thoughts on the Champions League. Obviously you've got Bayern Munich. Obviously Cancelo being loaned out. Do you happen to have any news? Because there was a lot of talks on obviously group chats that were in Vater about whether Cancelo can even play in this game. Do you have any news on that? And what's your thoughts on drawing Bayern Munich today?
Yeah, I mean, I'm like many City fans that do. We speak from an alpha standpoint. Take whoever we have to play, we have to play. None of this beta stuff. Oh, what's the easy draw? Let's make our way. No, forget that. If we're gonna earn this, if we're gonna win it, we gotta play the best anyways, right? So we got Bayern. It could have been Real. It could have been Napoli. All tough teams as well. But Bayern is going to be an interesting one. I don't like the fact that we play at home first. I'll be honest with you. I wish we were playing at home on the second leg, but I think we have the quality to get a good result coming out of that group.
That won't matter.
What would matter?
Getting the home leg in the second leg, it won't matter. Because quite a lot of the time they get knocked out in the second leg is at home, so it won't matter.
Oh, honestly. Okay. Well, that's good to know. That's good.
What's going on, people?
Hey, what up, you guys?
What's good, you guys?
Hey, good timing. You missed out on the Arsenal talk. Good timing,
Bro,
Purposely, bro.
I literally just got to the house and I was like, yo, let me jump
Nice.
on quickly.
No,
I'm not gonna lie to you guys. You guys can give us as much smoke as you want for us being out of the Europa League. I don't mind it at all because
We already did that, bro. Don't worry.
We get knocked out.
We took it
Been
easy
there,
on
done
you.
that. Igal,
We
just
did
make
take
sure
it
you
easy.
win the Premier League, bro. Don't leave this season.
Listen,
Yeah, man.
Don't leave this season with nothing, my friend, because I will find you like Liam Neeson. Wherever you are, I will find you. Leave this.
hold us to it. Hold us to it. But at the same time,
You've got a particular set of skills. Is that what you're saying?
but at the same time, misery loves company. We know that.
Absolutely.
Misery loves company.
Take a seat right here.
Okay.
All right,
Okay.
guys,
Yo,
let's get back
love
to it. Let's
people.
get back
I'm
to the
gonna
show.
say this. Arsenal better beat Crystal Palace on Sunday.
Yeah.
That's a wrap.
We'll
man. You
get
know
back to a
that.
bit of Arsenal talk in a moment. Obviously, Vita, just to find out, because obviously Ram's got to go, and I want to talk about Liverpool before he goes.
Yeah, I do.
Just a
I do
quick-
as well. I was
Yeah,
good
just
for
a
the hour.
quick summary. What do you think of the FA Cup? Because obviously you're playing Burnley, and just quickly, obviously you've spoken on the Champions League, but just quickly on the FA Cup for us.
Quickly with the FA Cup, I absolutely wish I wasn't playing company now. I want to avoid anyone within Pep's coaching tree. I would have preferred a little later, but we play company. The emotions are going to be high. I know the fan base are going to be cheering and rooting them on, but they are doing their thing. Company has them buzzing. So it's going to be a difficult game. I do see, because it's the international break, I do see Pep putting together a strong starting 11 because he knows these guys got the
I
international
take it
break. We'll
seriously,
deal with
that.
it.
I take every
So he's going to take it serious.
Yeah.
I don't see an embarrassing result, but I do see a convincing win and a professional courtesy. All right, let's shut this down type thing. But yeah, we're winning. We're winning this FA Cup game.
Yeah.
It's at home, by the way, too.
Yeah, just on the time thing with Rams, obviously out of the Champions League, unfortunately from Real Madrid, aggregate was 6-2, and obviously the somewhat of a shocker. I mean, this season you can say maybe expected. The Cherries beating Liverpool 1-0. From beating their rivals on the high of 7-0 to then getting humbled in a way against Real Madrid to then being humbled again by Bournemouth. What the hell's going on, Rams? Like, what is going on with Liverpool? Where's these mentality monsters? What are your thoughts on Liverpool right now?
Lack of planning I mean, I don't want to say I completely expected this to happen because I didn't expect us to be outside of the top four. I expect us to be hovering around top four, just making things go by, and then we end up qualifying. I didn't expect us to be this bad. You could say injuries played a part of it. I don't want to do that because even when we had our good players, we still didn't play well. Lack of planning, lack of any, and I like to use this word, this phrase, gross negligence as a business and as a football club. Everyone knew that we needed a centre midfielder, whether it be a stopgap or whether it be whatever. We needed a midfielder. We needed a head to be that. And we ended up getting Arteta, and he hasn't played a single game this season, barring that 13-minute cameo against Napoli, which it makes no sense because the ideal replacement or the ideal player that we needed has gone to Chelsea, and they were the exact same club as Arteta. But
who's that? Sorry, is that Fernandez?
Zakaria.
Zakaria. Yeah, he's not even.
Yeah.
He would have been a perfect player.
Be going back. Yeah, Zakaria is a good, decent player though. Zakaria is a decent player.
Take care, guys.
See you there, man. He was the perfect player for our kind of model, just to be a good stopgap, and we didn't do that. Jurgen Klopp, his tactic and his naivety and his lack of and his arrogance to stick to what he knows and not change things is a big factor. And also, our model has completely changed, and everything that we worked so hard to do and we built up for the last 4 or 5 seasons, we've torn it down to the ground, and we have to start from square one again.
Yeah, but a lot of Liverpool fans, man, calling Klopp out. I mean, that's outrageous, in my opinion.
Look, I'm at that
bro. Come on.
I'm at that stage where I'm not Klopp out, but whenever someone says Klopp out, I used to be like, no, you can't be serious right now. I can actually hear the conversation now. I can't say anything because all they're saying is right. He hasn't done a rebuild before. Granted, he hasn't had the opportunity to, given the right circumstances. People say Borussia Dortmund, he messed it up. He wasn't backed by Borussia Dortmund. He didn't want players like Immobile. He didn't want Ji Dong-won. I think everyone knows Ji is the guy that flaked out for a header for Sunderland. And he didn't want a list of players that they bought in. So I really wouldn't count that. I think the only player he wanted within that period was Kevin Campbell. That's it. Everybody else he didn't want. I have the situation where he's been given the right for what he's done for Liverpool to have another rebuild. And honestly, at this point right now, I'm giving him until December, at the end of December. If nothing's changed, if we're not in top 4 or we're just limbering away, then really I have to call him out and be like, are you good enough to take us further? And I don't want it to be a case of the cows go by and all the good managers are gone. I've said it before. I wanted Hansi Flick to take over Klopp, so that from a really regimented gegenpressing system to more of a technical, but a little bit more similar to Jurgen Klopp, but there's a little bit of technical flair there. I would have been happy with that. Then go to someone else that's a bit more technical.
Yeah, but Ram, let me say something. Do you think I heard a lot? It's different fans. I'm not going to say Liverpool fans, right? Still about Van Dijk is finished because the injuries. Matip is getting older now. They lost his space. Gomez is not that player. You know that. And obviously, I heard a lot about Trent as well. No person. That's not my opinion. People cooking Trent, right? Defensively in particular. I mean, that guy.
Rightly so.
Gallagher's,
rightly so as well.
Yeah, so is Liverpool really need to spend huge and midfielder we needed, and I think maybe another striker or. So
Shall I tell you, Kasim, how many players we need? We need a backup right back, a proper one, because Calvin Ramsey's broken his knee, and I don't know if he's going to be playing football for Liverpool ever again. We need 3. We ideally need 3 midfielders, 1 DM/6, and 2 centre midfielders. We need a backup right winger because Salah has been playing circa 38 games a season for Premier League games a season for Liverpool, and he deserves a little bit of rest, and a little bit of a change might be good for the team. And that's pretty much it off the top of my head.
What about the defense? What about the defense?
Oh, and the centre back. Sorry, a centre back as well.
Yeah,
or even 2. If Gomez and Matip are going, we need 2.
You're talking about 8-9 players though.
That's what I'm saying. Like this is the problem that we're in, because normally I like to use this analogy, right? If you don't clean your room every week, and then at the end of the month you look at the state of your room and it's so messy, then if you cleaned your room every single week, it wouldn't be that messy. If we had spent money every single transfer window, i.e., say about two every window, so every January, every summer, 2 per window, we wouldn't be in this situation. But we are now in this situation because we haven't spent enough money to address the right areas, and we haven't let go of players that were just literally unreliable. Last season was a fugazi. Last season, a lot of us were surprised with the likes of Naby Keita, Oxlade-Chamberlain, not only gaining form, but staying fit for the whole season. Naby Keita never stayed fit in his whole career. Yeah. Only last season he decided to stay fit. Joel Matip stayed fit for the whole entirety of last season. Never done that before until 2016-17. Never done that before. Oxlade-Chamberlain, really, his career got shot because of that knee injury against Roma. Hasn't been the same since, but found a good reign of form and helped us when Mo Salah and Sadio Mane were in AFCON. We relied on these kind of players, and yes, we squeezed every single juice out of them last season. Every single one of them, we squeezed the juice out of them, and they got us to a place where we never thought we would ever be, challenging for a quad. And the lowest we finished in every competition was runners-up. Like, that is something I did not expect this team to do. But once you've squeezed every ounce of that juice left, you got nothing left. You got nothing. And that was the time to rejuvenate the squad. And I can't deal with the fact that, we weren't looking for a midfielder. We were planning to spend £85 million on Aurelien Tchouameni.
Yeah.
So the funds were there. So
I just got a quick question for you as we're on the topics as well. I don't know how much time you've got, but it's mainly from Valve, who's obviously another Liverpool fan. So a quick one. I guess you kind of answered this, but are you done with Trent at right back?
It's difficult because whenever he has shown me signs where he's actually a very, very good defender. Chelsea last season in the FA Cup final, magnificent defensively and going forward. But if he wants to go forward all the time, a Hansi Flick will turn him into a centre midfielder. So I don't mind it. I don't mind us honing on that attacking ability and making him a much prominent midfielder. Because you know what that also benefits? It also benefits England as well. Because we don't have that in our team. So ideally, if it was me, I would have found a way to make him into centre midfielder and buy a defensively more competent and more athletic right back. Because it's a Fugazi. Trent Alexander-Arnold's not quick, neither is he strong. He's not like a Reece James or even Ben White to an extent. Ben White is much more physically dominant than Trent Alexander-Arnold, in my opinion.
Awesome. I mean, obviously, unfortunately, you've got no game because it's been postponed due to, I think, the FA Cup and stuff.
Yeah.
Obviously, your next game is going to be Liverpool City, but we'll cover that, obviously, when closer to time. But yeah, I mean, obviously, with Liverpool, it's been a weird season for you guys. I mean, do you see this being a blip and you'll be back, or are you just waiting to see what happens in the summer? Because obviously the big talking point is FSG in or out at the moment.
I've always been FSG out. Like some of the stuff outside of Liverpool, outside Liverpool fans won't know this as much. Some of the stuff they've done at our club is unforgivable. Trademarking the name, increasing the prices of the ticket prices, furloughing staff. They've done a lot of seriously bad stuff.
Ram, can I just say something really quick? Because I've listened to you on Liverpool, and as a Spurs fan, I always think Liverpool's like sliding doors. Do you know what I mean? It's like, oh, look what we could have won if we just done a little bit more of this, and we're cut from the same family cloth in terms of how you want to run a business. I find it very funny when Liverpool fans say FSG out, when FSG are the reason that you guys are pretty much relevant at the top end of the table. Because when I was growing up, you guys weren't a top Premier League side in terms of challenging for the league like that. You weren't a team that was good. Like from say 1990 to 2005, you guys weren't. You had the Rafa Benitez season when he did facts, and apart from that, you were nowhere near winning the league.
That's a fallacy.
Okay, what season were you close to winning the league then? Sorry.
2001, 2002, when Gerard Houllier had his heart attack.
Brandon Rodgers.
I will always say this: if Gerard Houllier never had his heart attack, he would have won the league.
Okay, so you have a segment of a season that may or may not have played out the way you think.
But do you know what the reason?
Because you get to romanticize it because it didn't finish. I'll give you that. But aside from that, in all the time before FSG came, you didn't look like you could win the league. Now, since FSG came in, they revolutionized your scouting. They revolutionized your approach to data. They brought you Jurgen Klopp. Yeah, they revamped your stadium. They won you the league. They've taken you to multiple Champions League final. Yeah. And Liverpool fans have the audacity to say FSG out. Why? Because their strategy of how they want to get you to the top differs from yours. Because
do you know what is? What all you're saying is great as a business. We're not a business. We're a football club.
How many points did you get last season?
92.
Okay, how many games did you not play in every single game that it was possible?
But I ask you this: did FSG do that, or did Jurgen Klopp do that?
Who
and don't tell me
together that Jurgen Klopp played with.
And I said the squad was not good enough. He squeezed every single ounce of that player. Like literally every single ounce of that player he did. So
okay, so let me get this right. So when Liverpool do well, it's because of. And when Liverpool do badly, it's because of FSG.
No, because I also said Jurgen Klopp is the reason why we're in this mess as well.
Bro, listen. I'm saying to you now, right? In my personal opinion, I've seen how you've done this over the last 4, 5, 6 years, yeah? And you've done a perfect job. Liverpool have done a perfect... Don't let fucking City down the road or Roman Abramovich make you think that that's the way a club should be run. What, by financially doping your football club? You've only been beaten by a club that financially dopes. If it wasn't for City,
we are one of the most profitable one of the profitable football clubs in the world, and we do not spend that money. Why is that?
Okay, Ram.
It's not like Chelsea back in the day where they could spend whatever they want. however much money Abramovich has. We have money in the bank, but we choose not to spend it. Why is that?
Okay, well, Klopp. Let me tell you straight up, it's Klopp. Klopp's the reason you're not spending it. Let me tell you, when Michael Edwards was there, and you were buying all of these, you were dropping 45 million on Jota, banged. Yeah, you were dropping 50 million on Fabinho. No, you can say this because I'm telling you straight up now. You're signing 50 million pound players that go well. Gakpo, all of Nunes. So the money's there. I look at your squad of strikers and forwards. That's great. Klopp's the one who decided not to buy a midfielder. You're telling me that Liverpool, with all their data and all their strategy, didn't present Klopp with a list of midfielders that he could have signed last summer, and Klopp chose not to buy one. That's on Klopp. He did the same bullshit when you didn't replace Lovren, and you had that terrible season because your centre-back got injured. Yeah, that was also on Klopp. And you tried to loan Ben Davies. You wanted to wait for Konate. I understand why you waited for Konate.
No, we didn't want to wait. We tried to get Konate in January. Leipzig did not want to. We did not want to pay the 50 million pounds. And Jurgen Klopp was like, sign this player now, or we're not going to do anything this season. And clearly the club were like, we're not going to give you the money for it, so we're going to get him next season. And we're we have to go and find another player because we had to. We were looking at Duje Kaleta-Kar. We were looking at what's his name? Issa Diop. And we didn't end up signing them.
So
Konate. Konate was available. We didn't want to pay the money. Okay. And where did that go to? The club. And I love how the fact you mentioned players like when we spent money prior. You do realize before we 18-19, we sold the likes of Coutinho for 140 mil. We sold Benteke for 32.5 million pounds. We sold Mamadou Sakho for 35 million pounds. The whole sell to buy model is great. No, Jay, let me finish it. FSG are great at building clubs, but they cannot sustain success. The model cannot sustain success. You look at the Boston Red Sox; they did an amazing job building the team up, but they had to take them another 6 to 7 years to win the World Series again. Why is that?
Well, first and foremost, we're comparing apples to oranges to lemons. So
no, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. No, how you build a team,
Hold on, Ram. Let me get this right, because FSG came in, they brought you a strategy that allowed you to win trophies that you weren't capable of winning before FSG came in, and you don't think they're capable of coming up with a new strategy.
You do realize in 08-09 we were challenging every season from 05 to 010.
You had one season with Benitez and you fell off. Yeah,
08-09. One season. Do you know the reason why we fell off?
Oh, okay. The Rodgers season, was that not on the FSG?
Because of Hicks and Gillette. Because we were going under administration at that point. We were no longer going to be a club. The club was about to cease to exist at that point.
Brendan Rodgers season, yeah, that was under FSG. Yeah, the 99-point season, FSG. Champions Leagues, FSG. All of the relative success of your football club in the last 20, 30 years came under FSG.
2001, when we won the League Cup, FA Cup, UEFA Cup.
Oh, you want to talk League
Cup? I was
talking about the League Cup. Huh? You've won the Champions League. You've won the Premier League. You won one Premier League in your existence, and it came under FSG. They gave you.
Wait, hang on a minute. We won in our existence during that period, 2000 to 2010.
Yeah,
we won a Super Cup. We won 2 Super Cups.
Did you win the Premier League?
Champions League. We won 2 FA Cups, 2 League Cups. Yeah, and under Klopp and FSG, we won 2 League Cups, an FA Cup, a Premier League, and the Champions League.
Okay, how many?
Jay, let me finish. The reason why we didn't challenge in those periods because the club was not run properly. We didn't. Okay. We tried to do what we did in the 80s, and it didn't work. Teams like Arsenal and United had a clear strategy, which is superseding everybody else. Only in 2000 to 2003, we started to actually try and implement those strategies. And we saw the rewards because we were challenging for league titles and we were winning trophies at that point.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So you cannot tell me, but during the period, we have to be grateful for FSG. Yeah, FSG bailed us out.
Right, guys, just last final points from each of you because obviously I'm loving the combo, but I've got two more.
So basically, my final rebuttal is I'm yet to speak to a proper Liverpool fan who wants to tell me FSG out, who can't rationalize it apart from I want billionaires that I don't like to leave, so billionaires I do like come in. There's no strategic logic to it. It's just a case of saying I don't think these guys are capable. Imagine Salah's performance this season is probably comparable to FSG's, maybe even worse, right? Do you see any Liverpool fans demanding Mo Salah be sold? But they demand the owners leave. For a club that pride themselves on you never walk alone, damn, they're quick to turn their back on people when they feel they no longer serve their purpose. My final point.
Awesome. Sorry, Rand. We will get an FSG out in debate if people
Can't let
want
me
All right, go on.
back.
Final point from Rams, and then we'll move on. I'll give you the final.
Look, the whole point on FSG, yeah, cool. They bailed us out and everything, yeah. But the problem is with the owners, right? They have done so many bad stuff within the club, and look, they don't. The reason why I want FSG out is because everything behind the scenes of the club papered over. Jurgen Klopp and the players have papered over the cracks. Our youth academy has declined ever since Steve Highway left. I don't even know. I don't think any of you know who is Steve Highway and who. Basically, Steve Highway is the guy that got players like Michael Owen, Steven Gerrard, Jamie Carragher, Jason McAteer, Steve McManaman, Robbie Fowler, players like that. We relied on him for so long within our youth academy, and we haven't invested anything. And FSG were like, we'll build this complex, and that is everything. The youth academy is much more complex than that. We haven't done anything to do with that. The reason why I want owners that will actually give a damn is so that Liverpool as an institution, and it's not only footballing wise, outside of football, the reason why I wanted to buy owners was because if you ever been to Anfield, Anfield is an absolute shithole. It's not nice. And Dubai owners, knowing how they are, knowing what they did with City, will put money into the actual city, and it'll actually prosper everybody else around the city. It's more than just everything like that. That's why I want FSG out, so I can have these kind of owners to come in and build the club. Not only the club, but also the city as well.
No, Gunnar, but before you go, FSG not revamping your stadium right now?
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about everything else outside the stadium.
You just mentioned the stadium, though.
The broader community.
Okay,
all right,
broader community.
That's fine.
I've gotten the point.
Like
I know you guys want to continue. I know, but we'll dedicate this. We'll get a stream going, talking about ownerships of the Premier League. But obviously, just for the consciousness of time, and obviously, Kasim might need to go in a moment as well.
All right, I got to head off, man.
Just quickly, Kasim, on Chelsea, just before you go, obviously picking up some form, and I think it's Napoli you're playing. If I'm mistaken,
Real Madrid.
Oh, Real Madrid. My bad. Just give your overall quick thoughts on everything, and then
Yeah, we're gonna be out, bro. We're gonna get knocked out. Yeah, I actually said that. And
you're picking up some form in the Premier League as well.
No. That's a myth, bro. We played Leeds bottom of the table. We played Leicester bottom of the table. People getting gassed already. But I called it. Before we draw Real Madrid. See, Chelsea come to the quarterfinal. They're gonna get knocked out. We know that team, bro, anymore. We need a proper manager. We need a world-class manager first of all. Secondly, we've got a goalkeeper. He's not good enough to be for League One, and we haven't got a striker to score goals. Yeah, Real Madrid, I think we're going to get knocked out. I think it's the only hope for Chelsea, right? I think it's the only hope for Chelsea is N'Golo Kante, because N'Golo Kante, if he's not playing, Chelsea become an average team, in my opinion. And I think Kante, he didn't play football for a good 6 months. So it'd be difficult, man. I think Chelsea going to get knocked out. 100%.
So what's the ambitions now then for the rest of?
Listen, bro. An ambitious for me, because now I had some
ambition for. What are you hoping for? Like what?
No, I'm coming to that, because obviously it's some Chelsea fan. Listen, I will spoke about I know Ram knows that as well. The point about Thiago Silva and there's all over the social media, and people coming on me left, right, and centers. But listen, bro. To me, the ambition is to get the 40 point and stay in the league. Now, some Chelsea YouTube and fans are just stretching it now, and they're saying we're going to go finish top 4. Let's go. Listen, but that's ridiculous, and it's becoming delusional now. I think it's a pre-season to me now. I think I need Graham Potter to be gone, and I think he's not good enough to manage Chelsea Football Club, in my opinion. And unfortunate for thing. I love Chelsea to win against Real Madrid, but I'm a realist, mate. I think, wow.
Right.
That's it.
And then,
thanks for having me, man.
You've got a game on the weekend, haven't you? And I think we've
got Everton tomorrow, I believe. Sean Dyche, bro, is going to sink the place. He's going to put 11 players behind the ball. It will, Sean Dyche. And listen, you have to give it to Sean Dyche. That's why he's good at. Sean Dyche is quite, relegation battle, specialist, and he's good at it. And it's not going to be straightforward, man. I'm not going to lie. Can we get a few points? Yes, we can.
What do you think?
I think it's going to be straightforward, bro. I don't think it's going to be straightforward. But let me ask you, Shay, before I go, because I've got to go, bro. Are you coach out? Can you hear me?
You out,
really briefly, it's a really difficult one because it's one of those where it's his choice. Like, it's the manager's choice.
No. The reason I'm asking you, my friend, is because a lot of Tottenham fans now coming to yourself. Bro.
I was gonna say, like, emotionally, I don't want to be a hypocrite because I looked at Vieira getting sacked today and I thought that's unfair because you think about where should Palace be in the league? Where are they? Where are they trying to get to? I use the same logic for Spurs. Where should Spurs be in the league? You can maybe argue third. Do we have a divine right to be above Liverpool? Do we have a divine right to? So the way I look at it is the manner of the Milan defeat, the manner of the Sheffield United defeat, that's what's heightened people's emotions. But these players have been losing cup finals and cup ties like this for the last few years. So being fair, I would say that if this guy's a winner and he's coming in, I've got my own doubts about whether or not Conte ball over 38 games is going to give you more points than, say, Arteta ball or Pep ball. These are different questions. But if I'm basing it on the job that he's done since he's been in charge, if this guy gets us back-to-back fourths, I've got no mouth to be saying Conte out. Do you know what I mean? It would have to be...
No, you don't make sense. I spoke to a lot of Tottenham fans, man. And, I mean, if he achieved the top four, I mean, I think the issue with the Tottenham fans, they won a trophy, isn't it? And obviously, I don't think Conte prioritized whatever it is, the League Cup or FA Cup. And obviously to him, because Champions League to him is you know what I mean? So I don't know, man. I'm a big Conte fan. I'm not going to lie.
I think you're right. The thing is that a Spurs fan's willing to be told that your team is shit until the team isn't shit anymore. Like, for like the next 2 years, just constantly being told your team is shit. It's not good enough. For me personally, like I really like what De Zerbi's doing at Brighton. I think if we could nick De Zerbi, Amorim, Poch, Marco Silva, maybe.
My guy. I like Marco Silva, man.
That's what I'm saying. Any of those four, like,
I think he's a top manager.
Bring me Enrique. We'll do tiki-taka for a couple of years. Fuck it. Like, there's a lot of excitement and potential of what we could be.
Yeah. So, guys, thanks for having me. It's been great. I've got to go, and I'll speak to you guys very soon. Bye.
Yeah. Obviously, nicely pivoted into Jay talking about Conte's situation. But quickly, Jay, obviously you got a game against Southampton. It's crucial. I mean, as it stands, Newcastle are beating Nottingham Forest. What's your thoughts on this whole top four? And do you think it's definitely on, or could you slip away?
Apologies. Sorry about that. Yes, I'm with you. Yeah. So, Spurs. Boring, innit? Do you know what I mean? As in, like, season's kind of done. We're just trying to get to top four. It's a bit like, we wanted to have a good season and we wanted to do good things, but it's best laid plans. It's just one of those things. It's a bit of like, okay, whatever, we're playing. We want to finish. The way I look at it, I want to finish top four because whatever we do next season, it's important. It's better to build from the Champions League than it is to build from the Europa League. But it's not been a great season. But the Premier League is getting there. It's getting there as being a really tough league. Everybody's got good managers. Everybody's got good players. And I think that if you haven't got a clear vision of what you're trying to do, it can be difficult. And I think with Spurs, with not knowing if the manager's going to be there next season, some of the players won't be there. It just creates this situation where the players are doing okay. They're not doing great. But I think in the form table, we've won 5 of the last 7. Cheers, Jack. We've won 5 of the last 7. We're not playing well. It's well, I mean, Ultra can say, I mean, Ultra supports Liverpool, I think. So yeah, of course it's been a tough season because we came in 4th last season, pipping Arsenal. We expected to progress. We've not progressed as much as the fan base would have liked. Arsenal have progressed a lot. We were out of both cup competitions. We expected to make changes in that sense, and because we haven't, it's been a tough season. You know, that's it's just as simple as that. It's not me trying to say like.
But there is that question of your tough season, and I don't know obviously which stance you have, but I've seen a few Spurs fans kind of. The question is it because Arsenal are doing so well that you think you're doing so bad, or do you think it's?
No, I personally, I had Spurs 3rd and winning a cup this season. That's where I put us. Now, we could still achieve 3rd, but if we don't win the cup, that was a strong 50% of, So if you finish 3rd if you finish top 4 but don't win a cup, then essentially you've achieved 50% of your objectives. So we've not achieved our objectives in terms of winning a trophy, but you will have achieved it in terms of top 4. But the fans are getting a bit tired of top 4. They feel like it's a little bit pointless. Sometimes people say Spurs will free fall when Kane leaves. I don't know. Berbatov left, Bale left. Like, do you know what I mean? As in, top players have left our club. Modric left. Do you know what I mean? Walker left. We've lost world-class players in positions before, and the team rebounds. I think Spurs have, because of what they've done with the stadium and how they managed to get into the top 6 and position themselves. Spurs will always. Spurs are not going to the abyss. As much as people think that Spurs might go to the abyss, it's funny that people critique Daniel Levy for only winning top 4, and then they think that Spurs are suddenly going to stop achieving that or aspiring to that. No, if that's your objective, they're going to keep pushing it. So I think in general, I'm very conscious that the fans' tolerance is very low at the moment, and they don't really seem to have the appetite for another rebuild. But by the same token, there's nothing you can do. You have to.
But that raises the question, because obviously I know you guys have been buzzing about when Antonio Conte signed. You've been buzzing when some of you have been buzzing when Jose Mourinho signed. Do you think it's time to take a step back and go, do you know what? We might need like a project type manager, not an elite name.
Well, the problem with Spurs is we have a bit of an identity crisis. It came under Poch, because after Poch did what he did, but we didn't win a trophy. The team, I mean, a lot of people blame Levy a lot more than I blame Levy. I think he's made some bad decisions, and I think some of it has been like for example, with Mourinho was coming off the United spell. People would say maybe Mourinho was right with some of the stuff he said about United. Spurs were dropping off, and it was like, maybe we need a new manager. I think that if you have a manager like a Poch, and then you basically have ruined the number of players that they had, because you've gone with 2 pragmatic managers. So there's a lot of squad that isn't fit for purpose, and when you have that kind of turnover, you can argue Spurs want to keep buying players in the mold of kind of like what Arsenal buy. If you look at the age demographic and profiles of players that Arsenal and Spurs have bought over the last 2-3 years, they're very similar.
Bizuma, Spence.
Bizuma, Spence, and for you guys, you can look at like the likes of Tierney and all these people. So you buy in a certain age, a certain profile. Now, for Mourinho's and Conte's, you need 27 to 30-year-olds, peak players who are able to deliver to a very high level, or the best in class at 23, 24. Do you know what I mean? So
ready and proven in a way.
Exactly. So for me, we've had the best intentions, but the wrong implementation. Like, you look at the last year's window, you look at Bizuma, Richarlison, Spence, Perisic. That's a good window. Like, you can't tell me if you had like I don't know, if you had Tuchel in charge of the team,
Yeah.
did the players would look different. It's not me saying that I want Pep out.
Yeah, like
Conte out.
Spencer, a progressive manager, would have been. And to be fair, like I don't understand why he's not played, because when you look at the 5-back formation, he suits that wing-back role to a T.
Yeah.
But obviously, Emerson, since Porro came in, has been a different player. But I think Spence could have been that guy.
Yeah, exactly. And I argue this point is could Spence have done what Porro's doing if you'd given him a chance or you let him develop. You know, Spurs have got a decent academy. There's some good players in there. Not many people are making it through. I just feel Spurs fans are a lot more negative than I am. I think with the top 6, you're never more than a year away from being back in the mix. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've seen Chelsea, I've seen United, I've seen Arsenal, I've seen, you know, with Arsenal and stuff, they have more shit to get rid of. But like Spurs are in a good place. I think they're in a better place than people think. They need to they need to drain the swamp a little bit. But there's quality there in the squad. There's quality, you know, they're bringing in. This is a big window, but yeah, the difficult thing is Spurs need to just do as well as they possibly can before the end of the season, but know that the manager is likely not going to be there next season.
That's the tough bit. But obviously, just to end it off, you've got Southampton. Now, we've seen what they did to United, obviously, with the draw.
Mm-hmm.
Are you, because, I mean, the thing is with Southampton, regardless of being 20th, they're a weird team in terms of when they come to the big teams. We drew to them, City have drawn to them. Obviously, United drew to them. So people do drop points. How are your feelings going into this game, and what do you want out of it? Because obviously,
go.
Because you've got like the top 4 to worry about. I mean, Newcastle currently playing, it's 1-1. A goal just got disallowed. So how are you feeling about it all?
For me, I think it's one of these things where it's like, it's where the players' heads are at. Like, we played Wolves away, and that was a similar game, probably subtly harder game than this game, but very similar kind of level of game. You know, we hit the bar twice. We should really have scored. You know, but we didn't, and then Wolves upped the intensity, and we couldn't deal with it. This will tell us a lot about where the players' heads are at in terms of professional pride. And yeah, boy is right. When the pressure isn't on Spurs, you know, can they step it up? I think if Spurs can win, with United not playing, hopefully with Newcastle potentially dropping points, they open a little. Spurs will go 3rd. Imagine Spurs in this season having a terrible season, and Spurs are about to go into this international break 3rd. That'll be a lot for the players. It'll be good for the squad, and they'll come back to a home game after the break. So I think Spurs, Southampton impressed me in spots, but they still were very much held by 10 men, and they very much like they very much it was like going toe to toe with United. They're still a low bottom half of the Premier League side under a manager who's learning on the job. I expect us to win. You know, I expect us to turn the screw on them and stake our claims, because Liverpool have got Liverpool playing tomorrow.
No, they're not playing this weekend.
Yeah, Fulham. Yeah, so again, so listen, yeah, I just want to end on this, because it's like, I know Liverpool aren't here to defend themselves, but I was looking at this before, because if Spurs can win tomorrow,
yeah, you go 3rd.
Yeah, we go 3rd, but it's Liverpool. They're not playing. Their match is postponed, and in terms of their next games, so after that, Liverpool will play City away after the international break. Yeah. Then they'll have Chelsea at home 3 days later. Then they've got Arsenal, and then Liverpool have got Arsenal at home. So Liverpool have got City away, then Chelsea away, then they've got Arsenal at home, then they've got Leeds away. And all of that is in the space of just over 2 weeks. So if we can really, that's what I'm saying. So if we can win this game, Spurs will come back after the international break, and they will be playing. We've got Everton away, then Brighton at home. So these next 3 games, if Spurs can get like 7 points or so, I'll be really intrigued to see how Liverpool do in terms of trying to keep up with us.
No, it's been an amazing show. Thank you, Jay, for obviously joining us and
Thank you
obviously
very
giving your insights. The debate for FSU was an interesting one. I wanted it to extend, but obviously I know Valve had to go.
And I appreciate it. I appreciate
but, obviously, guys, check out Jay. Plug yourself, obviously, as you're here.
it. J-rated R, Twitter for the ramblings of a madman.
Amazing. Subscribe, guys, and obviously like. And that's been Vibe from a 6. Take care, people. Enjoy the rest of your evening and your weekend.